Hey, it's your friend Choice CJ here, and I am back with some more PMC action this week. We are in week 4 of season number 2. I am the coach of the Baltimore Oriolus, and we are going up against Phantombass, coach of the Cleveland Escavaliers. I'll definitely be leaving a link down to his channel down below. Also want to give a shout out to Alcoholic Gamer Boy for recording this battle for me. He's been doing all my battle recordings this season. Really cool guy, does some really awesome graphics, and also does cool content on his channel. I recommend you all check him out. But without further ado, let's talk about these teams. I did make a team builder for this game, and I do recommend you guys check it out. I am bringing a specially defensive Mega Steelix, very similar to what I brought last week, but this time I brought Dragon Tail instead of Rest. I brought a Safety Goggles Tornadus T as a very good switch-in for Amoonguss. I brought a defensive Yachi Berry Salamence as a switch-in for Victini. Defensive Spirit Tomb with Will-O-Wisp, Foul Play, Sucker Punch, and Pursuit. Choice Scarf Sylveon with Baton Pass. And then I also brought a physically defensive Electros with Leftovers. Phantombass has brought Magneton, Gyarados, Togetic, Amoonguss, Victini, and Sandslash. So right away, I'm thrilled that a Pokemon like Snorlax did not come, because that thing is really scary. I didn't have a lot of great answers for it. Gallade didn't come, which isn't a huge deal, because I had, it wasn't really a huge threat to me. Spirit Tomb, like, hard walls the thing. The only set that would have been a problem if he was, like, SD Will-O-Wisp, that would have been pretty bad. The Latios didn't come, which was a relief. Steelix is a pretty good check for that, and then the Torn can revenge that thing pretty easily. Or, at least threaten it with moves like U-Turn and Knockoff. But otherwise, Pokemon like Victini are obviously terrifying. Gyarados is going to be really terrifying. So my priority in this game is to get up Stealth Rocks and to punish those Pokemon for switching in. And so with that in mind, I'm actually going to lead with my Steelix this week. And we're going to go ahead and hop right onto this battle without any further ado. And you guys will see how this battle unfolds. So Phantombass is issuing that challenge, and he's going to send out the Hairdugo. Shoutouts to the Verd. Goes into Sandslash. Now, I'm thinking this thing is most likely just going to want to set up its own rocks, because rocks are very annoying versus me too. It hinders the survivability of my Salamence and also my Tornadus. So rather than, worrying about whether he's going to go for Earthquake or not, I just go for the Stealth Rock of my own. I also know that, being as bulky as I am, I can basically take any Earthquake that he wants to go for. Even if he is offensive, I don't even think it's going to 2-hit KO me. But since I've gotten up my rocks and done what I want to do, one, I don't want to take a fat Earthquake if I can help it. Like, now that I've got up the rocks, there's no, reward to making that sort of risky play. But I also know that he could very easily Rapid Spin on me. So I go into my Kelemvor and block this Rapid Spin, because as I said, being able to keep up the rocks is extremely, extremely important to me. Now, I could go for Will-O-Wisp on this thing, but I'm fearing the Victini switch in. So I go for the Foul Play rather than a Will-O-Wisp, and this Togetic comes in, which is a good play. The Togetic doesn't really mind even being burned, and as you can see, it takes absolutely nothing from that Foul Play. So we don't want to stay in here and potentially take a Dazzling Gleam, so this is just a really nice opportunity for us to switch out. We go into our Electros. I could have gone into Steelix, but I didn't want to bait in something such as the Victini. Victini obviously doesn't want to take an Earthquake, but it's a lot more probable that I go for the Heavy Slam here. I could have also gone into Tornadus, but I didn't want to take a Thunder Wave, potentially. So he is going to go for Wish, and he's going to pass on out into Victini. And I go for the Volt Switch here. Even if he goes into Sandslash, I don't really mind, because I've got a really nice switch into that thing with the Kelemvor. But he brings in the Victini, like I said, and I bring in my Salamence. I'm going to be able to get off the Intimidate on this thing, and this is one of the scariest moments of any league battle that you'll ever play, facing down to Victini when you don't know the set. So he goes for Dazzling Gleam, and I'm like, okay, I know I EV'd this thing so that I can live a modest Life Orb, Dazzling Gleam after rocks, although it does like 63% or so. But that thing does like 30% damage, which is really, pretty crazy. And I get a crit on my follow-up Earthquake. So that thing is in a really tough spot. If I found out after the game that he's actually banded with Dazzling Gleam, so based on the amount of damage that he did there, he definitely needs to switch out. And knowing this, I go for the Roost, get back up to full HP, and now this Togetic comes in. This time, rather than going into the Electros, I go into the Steelix again. This Togetic can do absolutely nothing to my Steelix. So it's just a question of what he's going to pass this wish on into. And he shows the Baton Pass, which is great. So he goes on ahead and passes into the Sand Slash. I go for the Dragon Tail. I didn't want him to try and, he could bring in whatever he wanted, but what I was really hoping is that maybe I could Dragon Tail it out into something like Victini and land a cheeky kill. Probably not a great play, just because he does have all 6 of his Mons still, and so the probability of that actually happening are pretty low. And then this Gyarados coming in was pretty close to a worst-case scenario, because I would need to immediately switch out. I do have a really nice switch into this thing still in my Salamence, and now that the Victini is weakened, I don't need to preserve my Salamence necessarily for that Victini, under the condition that I keep up my Stealth Rock. So he does like 5% damage with the Waterfall, proceeds to Dragon Dance, which is definitely something that I pictured happening, and I came prepared for this exact situation, and I went for a Thunder Fang on this Gyarados. Luckily, the Salamence is not the Pokemon that was intimidated, so I was able to land like a nice 85%. He shows the Ice Fang, but I have the Yachi Berry. I can take that with absolutely no problem. I go for the kill with the Thunder Fang, and what do you know? I miss. I'm thinking, oh, crap, this really sucks. Now there's a +1 speed Gyarados that's on the field. Fortunately, it's at a neutral attack boost, because I did land that Intimidate before the Dragon Dance, so that's quite nice. I go into Kellenvor because I figured this thing is at a range of HP where I can knock it out with a Sucker Punch, and that is what I go for here. He fails, that move fails, because he goes for Rest. For a second, I thought, oh, okay, he's going to click another Dragon Dance, we're going to play some Mind Games, that's kind of annoying, but no, he shows the Rest. And I know that he has 2 attacking moves, so he can't have Sleep Talk. And he does show the Chesto Berry to reveal that he is Resto Chesto, which is A-okay with me. He's going to go for a Waterfall, and I'm just going to click Foul Play because the damage calc still shows that it does a tremendous amount of damage. He unfortunately gets a crit, which is going to do like 35-40% damage. Sorry, I lied. I didn't actually go for the Foul Play there. Because now that this thing is not awake, or now that it's not asleep, even if he Dragon Dances, the Will-O-Wisp is going to be a pretty nice play here. And I can follow up with a Foul Play. Foul Play damage does not change if your opponent's burned. It only gets decreased if the user is burned. So he goes for a Dragon Dance just to, I guess, get himself up to some more damage. I don't think I had actually shown the Foul Play up to that point. Him going for Dragon Dance boosted the power of my Foul Play, which is really quite nice. He's going to go for Rest here. I have no reason not to click Foul Play again. Because, it's still going to do a ton. He's still at +1. And as you guys can see here, it does like a good 60-65% damage. Now, this thing is fast asleep. It's not going to wake up. It's going to die to another Foul Play. So I make what I think is a pretty heads-up play and go for the Pursuit. And I get this thing down to like 10%. Which is also fantastic, because now that thing is in range of dying to rocks too. So as long as I can keep rocks off on the field, we're already at like a 5-4 advantage. It stunk that the Salamence had to go down, but again, I just have to keep those rocks up. The Togetic does come in again here. Now that the Gyarados and the Victini are pretty much dead, this Steelix is like very free to come in here. And he is going to go for the Wish. Now he has some other Pokemon in the back. He has Amoonguss, he has Magneton, and he has Sandslash. Now against most of those Pokemon, like, they're gonna get the full benefit of this Wish no matter what. So I decided to go for Earthquake, because that was the only thing that stood a chance of OHKOing anything like Okoing the Magneton, but he actually stays in, receives his own wish as I completely whiff with that Earthquake. It's pretty, I thought like a fairly risky play for him to stay in there, when I could have heavy slammed, and then he would have gotten no benefit from that wish whatsoever. But, it definitely worked out for him. You can't say anything bad about that. Definitely a ballsy play and paid off for him. Now he brings in the Sand Slash, I go for Heavy Slam, and I switch the Steelix on out into the Kellamvor because I don't want this thing to spin. It's so important because if it does spin, then Victini and the Gyarados are still around. I suppose I can always try and set up the rocks again later in the game, like set it up on the Togetic or something like that. But it's just easier if I don't have to worry about setting up rocks again. He does make a good prediction and go for the Earthquake. And based on the damage, I'm thinking that thing is actually max attack adamant. But at 67 HP, I'm 100% guaranteed to live a second one. And I do go for the Foul Play again as he brings in the Togetic once again. Really wishing that one of these turns I would just go for the Will-O-Wisp. But I figured if he was going to go for another Earthquake, there might not be a ton of value in Will-O-Wisping it, because it's not like it would allow me to live a second hit, right? The Foul Play would just let me get off as much damage as possible. I would Sucker Punch, get off even more damage, and then I could revenge it with, Tornadus, for example. But he does switch on out into the Togetic, does nothing. I bring in my Electros here, as you see, and he is going to withdraw. I believe, I go ahead and click the, no, I think I click the Giga Drain here, because the Sand Slash is a pretty nice switch into this thing. And again, I can't afford to let that thing spin. So I go for the Giga Drain as this Amoonguss comes in. It does absolutely nothing. But I know that I outspeed this thing, so I can go for a Volt Switch with pretty much no fear. And I have a very nice switch into this thing in my Tornadus. The Tornadus does have safety goggles, so if he wants to go for the Spore, I'll be in good shape. But I am starting to worry a little bit about this thing. I don't know what item it has. It didn't show the Black Sludge. I bring in my Tornadus here, and he goes for Foul Play. And as you guys are going to see, this Foul Play actually lands a crit, which really sucks. Because, I need this Torn alive. It's one of my main offensive mons in this game. It's this, and also my Scarf Sylveon that really have all of the offensive pressure. I ended up clicking Hurricane. This actually probably was a little bit of a mistake. It ended up not mattering in the end, but U-turn was probably the better play. If he was like Rocky Helmet, then U-turn still wouldn't have, it wouldn't have killed me like with the Rocky Helmet recoil, and it would have gotten me some initiative into something different. Because there was almost no way that the Amoonguss was going to stay in and take a Hurricane. But he does bring in the Magneton, revealing that he is possibly Scarfed. But I know that the Steelix can very, very easily take a Scarf Hidden Power Fire from a Magneton, even if it's something like Analytic. That doesn't really worry me. He does bring out the Togetic, which is a good play. I should have predicted this, but I did go for the Earthquake. And I am finally going to be able to take this thing out as it goes for one final wish. So the fact that he's able to get up this wish actually kind of stinks. Because now he can bring in basically whatever he wants. The Sand Slash, or the Gyarados can't really kill anything. Did I say Gyarados? I meant Steelix. I don't know if I said Steelix or not. But yeah, the Steelix can't kill anything that wants to come in here. He goes for the Earthquake. And this is probably another bad play on my part. So I wanted to just make sure he couldn't spin. So I just go for the Stealth Rock. Probably the better play would have been to try and get damage off on this thing on the first turn, even if I knew he was gonna get wished back up, and then follow up with just spamming Stealth Rock until I died. As played, my Steelix is now pretty low on health. I do switch out and block the Rapid Spin this time. So you can see, that my play wasn't completely unmerited. I just think I got the order of it wrong. The thing that's scary now is because my Steelix is at kind of a low amount of HP, it's not really a good check to the Magneton anymore. I can't switch in and take 2 hits. It would have to come in after something died and scare out the Magneton. But anyway, he is going to go ahead and switch on out. bring in the Amoonguss. I land a foul play and get a decent amount of damage off. Not too unhappy about that. Based on the way he's playing this thing, I'm starting to think that it's actually Assault Vest. Because I'm thinking back to the damage that the Electros did, and it did very little. But I know that I outspeed this thing. I'm like 5 base speed faster than this thing anyway, and I actually put 12 EVs into speed just to make sure I outspeed any speed creeping that he did. So I do burn this, and he hits me with the foul play that is absolutely 0, which is pretty great. I can continue to spam my own foul play and whittle this thing down. He does go for the Giga Drain, which does a surprising amount of damage. It does like 36 HP there. We are going to heal up with leftovers and be out of range of another Giga Drain. But now that the Togetic is gone, I can, there's still a good threat of my foul play. I am going to switch on out though, because I don't want this thing to be so weakened that it can't take another Earthquake from the what do you call it, Sandslash. So I go to my Tornadus, because I'm pretty sure that it can take any hit that the Amoonguss wants to go for. It could definitely take a burned foul play, that's for sure. But he makes a good read and doubles out into Magneton, which is going to threaten me out into my Electros. I could have gone into the Steelix here, but he still goes for the Volt Switch. I still think Volt Switch. I think it was a good play, even though the risk of my Steelix was there. He knows that I know that I would die to 2 Hidden Power Fires. And Hidden Power Fire actually hits this eel relatively well. I guess maybe he just Volt Switched because the Tornadus was in front of him. But I just think it was the good momentum play, all things considered. But anyway, he brings in the Amoonguss on my Electros. I can't do a lot of damage to this thing yet. Flamethrower probably would have been a good play. But I wanted to bring in the Tornadus and try and threaten this thing. He does make a good read and go for the Sludge Bomb. Brings me down to literally 1 HP and then lands the Poison. At the time I was pretty sad about that Poison, but after looking back on it and doing the calcs, the Sludge Bomb was actually a low roll. It probably should have killed most of the time. So I don't think that really ended up being a big deal that he got the Poison, because in a lot of normal circumstances he would have killed. But now after another turn of the burn damage, this Amoonguss is looking really, really low. I'm trying to see if I can't snipe it with the Flamethrower. He decides to finally sack his Gyarados. It was pretty smart of him to save this thing all the way until the end as a sack. Now he brings out the Magneton next, as you'll see in a moment here. The whole time, this whole game, he had been playing it like it was Scarfed, but I was like really horrified this whole time that this thing was going to turn out to be Specs. So I leave this thing in because I don't really have any better play. And he's going to bring the Amoonguss back in. And I'm pretty sure I go for Flamethrower here. We'll see in just a moment. Yes, I do go for the Flamethrower. Which is, because that was, the move that was going to hit the Magneton. And I knew that it would also hit the Amoonguss, and it would also do some damage to the Sandslash that was in the back. So now I'm just going to click the Flamethrower again because it very easily kills. I really, really wanted to click Giga Drain because I didn't want the Sandslash to come in for free. But the calcs showed that it only did like less than 5%. And I was like, okay, I just honestly can't risk the Giga Drain not killing this thing. So now I'm up to 50 HP, brings in the Magneton again. And as I mentioned, for some reason I got really scared in this moment that he was Choice Specs. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do if this thing is Choice Specs. I end up just staying in, clicking Flamethrower, and I'm able to take it out. I live on 2 HP, as you guys can see. Afterwards, we talked. The damage calcs showed that it was a roll. It was like a 25% chance to kill. It was a 75% chance for us to live. So that was actually slightly in our favor. But I don't know why that was such a scary moment for me. I was like, okay, crap, if this thing is Specs, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have switch-ins. But I was able to kill that. The Sandslash comes in and was able to kill me with a Rock Slide. But this is the last Pokemon that he has. It is at full HP, and based on the calcs, my Sylveon's Hyper Voice is only going to do 86%. So I want to try and get as much prior damage off with this thing as possible. So I do bring in the Spirit Tomb, go for Sucker Punch, as you can see. it does maybe like 20%, maybe a little bit less. He is going to be able to take me out with this Earthquake, get himself back up to, I don't know, maybe like that 86 HP that we were talking about. Might be a little bit more. It might be closer to like 90% HP. But this is the best chance that I've got. I've got to go into this Sylveon. I know I can live in Earthquake anyway. It does 76% max to my spread, assuming that he's at max attack Adamant. I just didn't want to go into this initially because I didn't want to risk a crit, which would have really sucked, obviously. So this Hyper Voice does end up killing the Sandslash, as you see, and that is going to be good game to our friend Phantombass. So really back and forth game. You know, it was very tight, especially there at the end. Ended up being a 2-0. I think that the lack of offensive pressure on our side almost ended up costing us, because we couldn't take on Pokemon like Sandslash and Magneton. In the Magneton, we would have had a better answer for it if we hadn't let the Steelix take so much damage. But, you know, again, in my head, I was just so worried about rocks staying up on the field, especially after Salamence went down. I didn't have a way of checking the Gyarados. It did have like 2 turns of sleep left, but then he Heal Belled. So he could have easily gone for, you know, a Dragon Dance. And I guess as long as we had Kellenfor, we could potentially kill that thing with a Sucker Punch. But he could just click Dragon Dance until the cats come home. I think that's the right expression. Shoutouts to Adam the Bee's Knees. He can correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I felt like trying to do everything in my power to keep rocks up in that on that play versus the Sandslash, and just throughout the whole game, was the right thing to do, because his biggest offensive threats, the Victini and the Gyarados, were pretty much dead if I could keep it up. I just underestimated how scary Sandslash and Magneton could be. So shoutouts to Phantombass for a great game. It very easily could have gone either way. And I do want to encourage you guys to check out his channel. This is going to put us at 3-1 in the division, which is pretty awesome. And it's going to set us up for a really awesome showdown with the Verd, our good buddy, who is also tearing it up in the PMC Season number 2 here. Go check out his battle, and you'll be able to figure out what his record is going to be going into our Week 5 game. I definitely don't want to spoil anything for you all. But he is a very good friend of mine. We team build together a lot for this league and for other leagues. He helps me with UBC. I help him with GPC and a bunch of other leagues that he participates in. So it's going to be an awesome showdown. It's going to potentially, provide, whoever wins is going to be in a really good position to win our division and win the playoff spot. And whoever loses, is definitely not out of it. They're going to be in good contention still for that division spot, and also for wild cards. But whoever wins is just going to have the edge, I think. And yeah, it's just really looking forward to it. And I've known Verd for a long time now, and I've still actually never battled him in a straight up league battle. Like we've done like random battles and other stuff on Showdown just for fun. But I'm really excited to test my skills against someone like Verd, see how I shape up, and I think he's excited too, just because we have a lot of mutual respect, and we know that we're both good battlers and good team builders. So that's enough of my rambling, you guys. Thanks for checking out my battle. Make sure you go check out Phantombass, as I said. Make sure you go and sub to my channel to keep up to date on all the latest and best Pokemon content. And until the next time, I will see you all later.